Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks. Are you serious? I got some bad lighting going on here. What is going on today? We'll deal with it, I guess, for now. Good to have you guys back. We didn't make it last week as we were moving, as we know. I think Carlos was moving as well. Carlos hasn't been with us in a couple of weeks with some personal stuff going on. God, that's annoying the crap out of me. But we'll get into some stuff today. So welcome everybody back. We'll get back on our regular schedule here, hopefully going forward. Today we're going to get into, and we welcome everybody, by the way, on Northeast Streaming Sports. Let's talk sports. Obviously, TGI Sports Talks page as well. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, some podcasts. If we start sharing them there again, we got to start doing some of that stuff. And just a couple programming notes, probably a week from Monday. So around I want to say the 19th, I think that's a Wednesday, we'll get started back up with the college sports huddle, college football huddle, as it were, probably mostly now. And we'll also be getting ramping back up one-on-one with Keith Engle, our interview series as well. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in the aforementioned Carlos Chavez, the Mad New Yorker, who's been missing a bit. Good afternoon. Sorry. Good morning, Carlos. How are you? How come you're not there? You are.
Good morning, Keith.
All of a sudden, your connection is not terrific. Good. How are you?
I'm not getting good feedback from your side. So.
Yeah, you're buffering quite a bit. That's. You weren't before, but now we're on live. You're a little bit more.
Too much, too fast.
Probably too much, too fast. Let me check one thing here while I'm. I want to get rid of that damn color behind me. It's driving. Oh, how's that look?
That looks like a figment of my imagination.
I know, right? Good grief. We'll leave it like that for now. How are you, Carlos? Tell us. Are you all through with your own personal stuff to get done? I mean, you've been a busy man as well. We've both been kind of busy as we've gone forward here.
Yeah, I want to apologize for everybody. And, I've been just the last few weeks of school here kept me busy with the kids. They both are moving up to a different grade. One's going to sixth grade. The other one's going to kindergarten. So there's just a lot of little events to go to and family time and moving, just like you. Congratulations! I hope you like your new spot there.
Loving it. Closing on the old place is Monday. Then we can pay for this place, and it's all done.
Yeah, we're about to leave here soon to visit our little new shindig. So, but hope everybody's enjoying their summer. If you're in New York City, I hope you've been enjoying the last few days of heat.
Yeah,
nice and hot for all those who like the heat and who moved to Florida for the heat. This has been about almost the same here the last few days. So
I feel like it's been that way everywhere. It's been hot here too. My gosh.
Oof, I'll tell you. So, but yeah, it's been busy, man. 4th of July passes and it just keeps going.
A lot of stuff going on. We've missed some stuff. I don't even know what we missed. So we're gonna talk some Major League Baseball today. We'll get into the Mets and Yankees. You know, who's buying and selling. All of a sudden, the Mets are. You know, I laughed. I made a joke Sunday morning. I don't know if you were there yet. That the Mets started out July with a win, and Steve Cohen said, I hope this is the start of something big. These game winning streaks have been big for the Mets, but they won 4 and 5 in a row now.
They're 4 in a row. They're going for their 5th today. The Padres series starts.
No, they won 5 in a row.
Was it 5?
Yeah, they've won 5.
I think
They start with the Padres tonight.
Yeah, they start with the Padres tonight.
I just looked at this. Yeah. So they're on a good roll. We'll talk about the Mets and Yankees and what they might mean.
They've won 5, but they won 4 in a row.
No, they won 5 in a row.
No, they won, and then they lost, and then they won 4 in a row. So they won 5.
You're going to make me prove it to you? 5 in a row.
5 in a row? Because they lost.
They beat the Giants 4-1.
Uh-huh.
They beat the Giants 8-4. They beat the Diamondbacks 8-5. They beat the Diamondbacks 2-1. They beat the Diamondbacks 9-0. That's 5 in a row.
Oh, so they won 6, but they won 5 in a row in July.
Oh, okay. I got you now. Yes.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yes, you're okay. You're all right. And by the way, nice wins too. When you're talking about the Giants have been playing really good baseball at that point. The Diamondbacks, one of the surprise teams in baseball and one of the best records in baseball.
Yeah, I feel bad for that kid, Carroll, man. He got injured, and not to say that I wasn't rooting for the Mets, but he's a good ball player, man, and Diamondbacks are gonna miss him, man.
How long's he out for? I didn't see the injury.
It just happened last night, so I don't know what they're predicting. So,
well, let's hope it's not much, because this is one of the kids. He's going to be one of the next great stars. He's already.
Oh, he's doing big things, man. Him and
there.
That player from Cincinnati. Oh man, they're just killing it right now. So.
Oh, De La Cruz, and also the other kid too. The shortstop they brought up before him. I can't think of his name now. It's escaping me. It'll come to me probably.
There's a lot of youngsters in the MLB that if you guys are you missing Trout and you're missing, and you missed Harper, now that he's coming back, but don't fret, guys. There's a lot of young kids out there, a lot of guys that are moving up, moving around, and keep your nose to the grindstone, because you could catch some of these kids and you'll see that the talent really doesn't veer too much off, right? It's just I feel bad because the talent's good on the field, but that pitching for some of these teams doesn't help them, win when they got those players on the field,
Most of the pitching stinks around the baseball. I mean, except for the first 2 starters on every team, and in some cases not even that. It's awful. That's why baseball's got to stop talking about expansion. There's zero reason to think about expanding when you're pitching specifically. And some of the the depth on teams too is as bad as it is. So no, let's just stop talking about expansion and concentrate on making it better that we have now by maybe going back to the future or going back to the past. I don't know. Right.
Yeah, let's talk about the Yankees, man. What's going on?
Look, I don't know. They play well, and you think they're getting out of it. Similar to Mets. I mean, they've got a better record than the Mets, but if you just watch the games and didn't pay attention to the standings, I would have thought they were no better than the Mets, because they throw as many stinkers out there as the Mets have early in the season. They've managed to stay, I think, 8 games above 500 now, and they had a really big series here with Baltimore. Won the first 2 games, have a chance to cut into a team that's going to be one of their main competitors for the top wild card if they aren't going to make a run at the division, which I don't think they are. And then they come up really small the last 2 nights. It's been awful. Last night was just a joke. I saw lack of competition. I could not believe. First of all, again, talk about last night's game specifically.
Yes.
For the lack of competitiveness out of Abreu was appalling to me. And then the fact that Boone left him in there. I know he's got to leave somebody to take a beating, because you can't just burn your whole bullpen in a game like that.
Right.
But Abreu showed me nothing last night, the way he pretty much quit during that game. And that I can't appease at all.
Right. Well, first of all, I switched back and forth, and then all of a sudden I thought it was the football score, and maybe it was just like something streaming on the bottom saying that it was New York Jets or something, or the Giants or something, and it was just terrible. And then I have a school of thought was like he could have used everybody because they're going on a break soon anyways. So they get extra few days for rest for the All-Star break, but I mean. LeMahieu, a lot of some of these guys who are on the field making small mistakes. They add up at the end, man. They add up at the end. And the pitching, Severino he was pitching cupcakes. Apparently, he's practicing to be pitching for the home run derby.
He's been really bad for the last.
I don't know, man. It's it's like you win one place and then you lose in the other, and it's it's like the Jets and the Giants and the. And like the Rangers and the Islanders, like you just get, you get the mix of both worlds, and then you just get a bunch of unhappy people here in New York.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we come to expect a lot. I mean, the Yankees at 8 games over 500 if you said there were going to be 8 games over 500, Rondon wouldn't have thrown a pitch. Severino wouldn't have been any good. Cortez out for most of the season, and when he pitched, he was ineffective. I said Judge out. No improvement at the left field. Donaldson hitting about 130. I think he's got 8 hits for the year. 6 of them are home runs.
I thought they were going to try to move away from him, but I guess they can't. That contract is just too heavy.
I think this is the Yankees. This isn't the Royals. I keep saying that, right? They could cut that contract tomorrow. And I think you may see him gone after the All-Star break. I think this was his last hurrah.
Yeah, because you have Peraza, right? You have the guys that are trying to come up, and you keep stunting their growth by putting this guy out there and expecting him to carry a heavy weight because they're wanting him to hit, right? And he's not hitting like he used to. So
and good morning, Alan. By the way, I did see Altuve went on the DL yesterday, and we'll talk a little bit about Mike Trout out for 2 months too. It looks like so. What the Yankees might do, but stick with the Yankees for a second. I blame Donaldson. Donaldson gets all the heat, but DJ's been just awful for the last 2 months. I mean, this team has a lot of guys that have got to get it going. And it's not just the fact that Aaron Judge isn't in the lineup. Now, there is some good news that he may be back sooner than later. He started doing a little bit more baseball-related stuff. So, listen.
I mean, he has to, right? If he doesn't come back, the Yankees are going to just keep struggling. And that's their main, that's the big fish. I mean, and even, I don't know what stands up, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't understand what else you need is motivation. If you're sitting on that bench, right, and you're sitting in that clubhouse, and you are the biggest paid, biggest, heaviest contracts, like in the majors, like what else do you need? Like you can look around any other team, and you're just above them by $2 million plus for each and almost every player, except for the young guys are like on contract issues, and they're playing better. The young guys are playing better than the older guys who are getting paid. Yeah,
and by the way, Kenny talks about. Good morning, Kenny. By the way. One guy's not going to fix this. Aaron Judge is a great player. Aaron Judge back alone will not fix what ails the Yankees. He can't pitch. He can't field. He can't run the bases. Listen, Torres the other day, and Boone drives me nuts with his excuses for players. Right, the other night when Torres had some bad base running, scored a run, but it was bad base running. And this team, again, this is another thing that we don't talk a lot about. They don't run the bases well. They don't do fundamental things very well. And one guy coming back won't fix that. And Torres does this all the time. And he gets away with it the other night, scores a run. And Boone goes, well, those are the things you have to kind of live with Glaber. No, you don't. No, you don't. He's been told multiple times to tone it down on the bases and pay attention to what the hell's going on. And the other night he gets away with it to help win a game against Baltimore. And, we laugh about it, or he laughs about it. But I say, just because it worked doesn't mean it was the right play. He does not pay attention out there. And I don't know whether his baseball acumen is really what it ought to be.
Do you think they've kept Torres one day too much?
Yeah, I'm not. I've said all along that I think
Glaber. I've been mentioning getting rid of Torres since we spoke on the show.
Yeah, because, again, partly this is the Yankees' fault. When they moved him to shortstop, his psyche got beat down so much that I said at that time, I don't think he will ever recover and be the player he was, say, in his second year. He was a great player. And I don't think he'll ever be that here in New York. And we worry all the time, and I'll get into it with Jack Hirsch because he'll talk about Aaron Hicks today and how well he's playing. And I don't care.
I was going to mention that, but no, listen, it doesn't matter what other players who've been on the Mets or the Yankees are doing.
Where the hell they play elsewhere?
Yeah.
They can play here.
Right. Like, what are you doing for me today? It's it's a New York fan mentality. Win this game, go out there, do what you have to do what you're getting paid for, at least, right? At least do what you're getting paid for. For me, I could care less about the money. The money is like whatever it is.
It's not even the money here, though. The thing that this team is afraid of Carlos, in my mind, because I watched it with what's his name, Gary Sanchez. They were afraid to trade him because they were afraid of what he would do somewhere else. That's just a stupid way to go about business, because if he's not doing it here, it doesn't matter what he does somewhere else. I don't care.
Right, and here's I don't understand why GMs even think like that. Here's the thing: if they're not doing what you're paying them to do, much less going out of and working over their contract, then you gotta move forward. You gotta move on. Like it's not. This is not buying the stock, right? I think a lot of GMs look at it like, oh well, once he starts peaking, maybe then, and we need to move him, then we'll move. No, these are players. These are everyday people who have a special skill who are getting paid to do that special skill. Now, if you can't do that skill that you have, just like me or anybody else who does any skilled work, electrician, plumber, driving a truck, anything. If you can't do that skill to the best of your, what, you're not going to have a job. You're not going to be able to do that job anymore. Like, I don't understand why GMs are like, well, we did sign him for 3 to 4 years. Yes, so what? People would lose a job every day. Like,
move on.
Yeah, I'm not saying this to be mean or like or be rude or anything, but I'm just like being realistic. That's just what it is. It is what it is.
I like Gleyber, and he's a good kid by all accounts, right? I mean, he's not beating his wife like the Cordero, who they had to cut the other day or suspend for the season, I guess is what they did. But, and I have no tolerance for that. Just let me put that out there. If I had my way, Domingo Germán would have never pitched a perfect game for the Yankees because he wouldn't be on this team. I mean, look, because I don't give guys chances for that stuff.
Yeah, but I think the Yankees got blinded by that for the last few weeks because of the perfect game. And I mean, but again, listen, like at the end of the day, he pitched a perfect game, fine. But you're talking also about a guy who got suspended for using muscle enhancing drugs, and somebody's got suspended for using sticky substance. Like, come on, like, he congrats to him. He did what he did, but this isn't some guy who
Listen, I'm happy for him, and I'm happy he's pitching well for the Yankees. But again, if it was up to me, they would have cut ties with him 2 years ago when he was beating his wife up.
But even before that, remember he came in, played 2 years, then got suspended for the drug policy. Then when he was about to come back, he got suspended for that whole thing with domestic violence. Then he comes back, plays a couple seasons, or in the mid-season he ends up getting suspended for sticky substance. I mean, the guy hasn't been the most top-rated player that you expect to win a game, but he did it. So
yeah, so that people talk about giving guys second chances, and I'm all for that. With everything you talked about, I'll give a guy a second chance for drugs. I'll give a guy a second chance for whatever. But if you lay your hands on a woman, I'm not giving you a second chance. You're gone. I've had it happen to me in my private life. You're not my friend anymore. I don't respect people who do that, and you're not going to be in my circle. I don't get back from that.
People do deserve second chances. I'm just like you. I'm for that. But look, at the end of the day, just
not this.
Can we be like Belichick and say this for baseball? Just do your job.
Yeah, I know.
Do your job, right?
It would be simple, right? I mean, good grief. Alan talks about some guys need to change of scenery. I agree. And that's happened well for Hicks. But Hicks, by the way, has not played well, except for the first 17 games he was in Baltimore. He's been on a downward trend ever since. So, and if Gleyber does well, if Gleyber returns to his previous form, like his second season with the Yankees, where he was one of the best players in the game, he was an all-star, then fine. I hope he does, but it's not going to happen here. It's very obvious it's not going to happen here. So, anyway, the Yankees are kind of in a pinch. So we talk about they need improvement in left field. They need improvement at third base. They need improvement at pitching.
Oh, my goodness.
What do they got to move? Gleyber is the one logical piece they can move. They're not going to move the kids, right? You can't trade.
I heard they could move Peraza just to make sure.
Yeah, but do you want to is my point.
Just to get or okay, so if you can move either one, Cabrera or Peraza, which one do you move? Because you have to piece them in with Torres to move,
I want them both, but if you're making me move one, I'll move Cabrera because I think Peraza and Volpe can be a combination at second and short for years to come. I don't care which one plays where.
I don't
want Peraza.
First of all, what depth the Yankees have to be able to move some of these guys, and then
I'll eat this year. If you would tell me Brian Cashman will either get smarter or get fired, I would eat this year, keep the kids, and then, flush through the veterans and get this, rebuild this roster next year. Take your chances. You're still going to have a chance no matter what you do to make the playoffs. But I'm not going to trade the kids for some washed up veteran who's going to help me for for 2 months, maybe help me. We also got a history of guys coming in here and doing nothing when we trade for them.
I mean, LeMay, he played well when he first started. Now he had a toe issue. Now he hasn't been the same since. He's making small mistakes stuff that he wouldn't have ever done, I don't think. I mean, I don't know.
No, he's pressing. He's pressing a bit, I think.
Yeah, he's trying too hard to – I mean, which is okay because at least he understands that he's not doing well. But then again, he's I don't know. I'm at a loss for words because I'm like, this is supposed to be the pinnacle of all the baseball teams, right? This is supposed to be the best rosters in the majors with the amount of money that's being spent on the Yankees, and it's like,
Look at if it's me, I trade Torres, maybe one of the relief pitchers for a left fielder, third base help somewhere, get Judge back, hope Bader stays healthy, plug in Peraza at second base, plug him in as short if you want, because he is a better fielder than Volpe. I know they want Volpe to be the shortstop, right? They want him to be the guy, but I don't care which one plays second or short. Let's play the kids. Hope DJ straightens out at third base if he's got to be the answer, and just ride the season out, and then maybe make some major changes and build around the kids and Judge in the offseason. So I don't want to see them blow this up and trade these kids away. I really don't.
Well, they've been given a little bit of a chance to some of these younger players, both the Mets and the Yankees, but they got to do a little bit more as far as like letting them play a little more games, especially if some of these older guys aren't up to snuff, man. I mean, I think if you're a younger player, your motivation will stay high if you're in the game, and if you're an older player, you should be okay with having to play less, right? Because you know the game, right? Is it that much that you have to get in a rhythm that you like? I don't know. I mean, see what the Mets were doing with Beatty and Escobar. That didn't really work out, right? And now Beatty's taking most of the time at third base.
What's he been doing recently? I haven't seen his numbers. Let's take a quick look because I wanted to move to the Mets. Because should the Mets be trading to think they're actually in this? They're 6 games out of the wild card, I believe. The last one.
I mean, why not?
Is this?
I say,
is this the real Mets? This 5-game winning streak?
Yeah, I mean, look, I say why not? You do what you can to get everybody, on the same page. Now they're starting to play better, and the younger guys are playing. Alvarez is, I mean, listen, the guy can hit. He's gonna have a few issues behind the plate defensively because he's young, but the guy can hit, right? And Batty has his times, or you think he's gonna do bad, and all of a sudden he comes up with a hit.
This lineup should be able to carry a guy like Batty, hitting 250. They should be able to if the rest of these guys play to their ability, right?
Right.
I mean Namos had a good first half. Lindor hasn't been awful. His OPS is almost 800. That's not terrible. His batting average isn't good. But, he's slugging okay. He's got 18 home runs. He's playing good defense. I think this team, I don't know. They need to improve, I think. Marte's maybe played a little better recently, but I think he might be on the downside. You might be looking for an outfielder and a starting pitcher, and you could probably do both of these things. Is it time to cut? You're not going to – if the Mets want to be in on Ohtani in the offseason, which I don't think he wants to come to New York, by the way. No. I really don't. Yeah. But if they want to be in on Ohtani, they can't keep Verlander and Scherzer here. You can't. There's no way they can chase. They could, I guess, because Cohen's, made out of money. But I don't know.
No, I mean –
would you trade one of those guys?
Yeah, most definitely. I would definitely trade Scherzer, and I would move Marte and Canna. You can move like 4 players right now for the Mets, and that effect is not going to hurt them, right? Which is not a good position to be in if you're trying to get to the playoffs.
Is Scherzer? Scherzer's a little bit different, as Alan talks about Scherzer going to Texas, is because he doesn't have the length on his contract.
The Mets let DeGrom go to Texas. Let him go to Texas. Look, at the end of the day, Texas is chasing dreams.
Mets are going to have to eat a lot of the contract of either one of those guys if they trade them, and they got to get a young pitcher back for both of them. In my mind, if they're going to trade them, They need a young pitcher who can pitch now in the majors because they're not giving up on this race.
Right. I mean, pitching is tough. And another thing the Mets haven't done really is like,
Kenny's right. Kenny's right here too. By the way, 6 games isn't that much. So
right. Yeah, no, McNeil needs to get better hitting, right? Because they signed him, so he's staying. So McNeil needs to pick up the bat and do better things with the bat. He's made a few infield, misses here and there. But
not his defense isn't his forte anyway. But he can't be hitting 56. He's not that valuable to his team hitting 256.
That's the thing. He's got to hit above 260, 270 average minimum, right? And
he's got to be at 300. He doesn't bring it up.
Keith, 300 is like asking 300 is like is
You won a batting title last year.
Yeah, I know, but
why can't 300?
I'm gonna tell you something, and we're both a little bit older.
His lack of defense and his lack of power does not lend itself to being in the lineup if he's not hitting 300 and his on base percentage is 330. He's not valuable to this team in that range. He's just not.
No, I mean we've seen a lot of baseball, and probably in my day, the person I've seen the most and the games I've seen the most of just coming up and getting just a hit every day has probably been like a guy like Tony Gwynn and Gary Sheffield. Like those guys get hits every day. Like it didn't matter what it was. They had at least a hit or two in the game average. That was like those are like the two best hitters I've seen like every day like get hits.
Tony would hit 400 every year.
I know, it's crazy. And then maybe in your day it was a guy like Pete Rose maybe and they name another guy like
Rose, Wade Boggs.
Wade Boggs, yeah.
Another guy.
Wade Boggs at the tail end of his career wasn't hitting a ball every day. Not a base hit.
Don Mattingly in his heyday.
Yeah, well, I mean, Don Mattingly didn't play a long career anyway, so but
no, but he had a stretch of 5 years where he was good as anybody in baseball.
Yeah, definitely. And so like, and if you go down after mid 90s, you're seeing a few guys here and there that can do it. So now you're in the 2000s. I mean, how many guys are hitting the ball every single day and getting base hits? Like, so
Arraza, the kid from Miami. He's the only guy.
I'm watching this and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just like waiting for a train wreck to happen, right? He might just go cold. Like and he hasn't, but I'm just like, oh God, please just keep him in the limelight, right? Because I gotta see
what he's at. What's he at now? But keeping a daily track of him, he's at 387. So he's still a hot streak. He still gets close, but 400 is really, really hard. Really hard.
Man, it's not. Look, 300 is really, really, really hard for people today. Imagine 400. That's like that's the extreme, right?
Absolutely. Before we move on from baseball, your thoughts on the All-Star game itself. Listen, I don't get excited about the All-Star game anymore. There's so much inter-league play. When I was a kid, it was a big deal because I didn't get to see the National Leaguers play. I was a Yankee fan. We got a handful of Yankee games. We didn't even have all the Yankee games. We get 10 a year. It was a big deal. Now it's just like, I see these guys play every day. I see them on SportsCenter every day. It's not as big a deal, and I don't think the game is that attractive anymore.
Well, first things first, we have to give credit. Yeah, we should give credit to those who earn being there, even though it's mostly
don't play.
Right. Second of all, you guys, like, if you like baseball, like, open your eyes. This is like one of the best seasons we've had in a while. Shotani, like, he's doing things that regular baseball players don't do every day, and that we don't see guys get with the kind of contract that he has played. Like, I'm here in New York complaining about why I want to see my players play. The Angels are getting their players to get to play, especially their high contract players. So, there's people like Rodriguez in Seattle. Like, just enjoy some of these players and what they do. De La Cruz, the young guys, Caro out of enjoy this.
This year, maybe you're right. They'll get to see some guys you don't normally see. They're up and coming. That's fine, but to me, it just doesn't carry the weight that it used to. And by the way, while we're on the Angels are in a bit of a free fall here. They're out without Trout for 2 months.
I know.
You think they entertain trading Ohtani now?
Well, I don't know, and I've heard talk of maybe even Daniel Murphy coming back into playing baseball to be in that position to help the Angels. But
He is in their organization, yeah.
even if he does, like, I don't know if he can pick up that slack that Trout leaves.
He cannot pick up that slack. So if this team goes into a tailspin, or this tailspin continues, I should say, for the next 2.5 weeks, do they entertain? Because Ohtani be the only big name, really big name that I think is going to get traded here. Could get traded. I don't think I think they'll wait till the offseason and hope they can. Well, actually, they can't wait till the offseason to trade.
How about a package like this? You get Verlander, Scherzer, and Marte.
Why would you? No,
Ohtani.
No. Why would they do that?
Because you got to payroll for payroll, right? You got to.
No, you don't. You don't have to.
Well, you could get rid of those guys and not worry about it at the end of the day.
Because teams can just eat the salary. I mean, the Mets could eat every bit of that $40 million they owe both.
Yeah, but like Cohen doesn't get anything for nothing. So
they're not trading the Angels. If the Angels fall out of this, they're not trading for this year. So they're getting kids like they got, like Washington got for Soto is what's going to happen.
Well, that's a name that hasn't been talked about. Soto looks like he might be out the door too.
Maybe. I've heard very little about them signing him long term.
So it's gonna be a very interesting, offseason once it all goes down, or maybe even trade session. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about the NBA. I know we'll talk a little NFL because we don't have a lot of the NFL, but I do want to talk a little bit about the gambling and the and the hardball that the NFL's playing about Hard Knocks with the Jets.
Oh, geez.
What do you listen? I know we are going to agree here. I think the Knicks have had so far a very good offseason for what they decided to do.
It's been
addition
okay.
By subtraction. Toppin.
It's been okay, and I'm not that satisfied with the DiVincenzo thing, but it's an okay pickup. I'm glad they're not trying to sign teams with jerseys. I'm just glad they're not trying to get that jersey to sell at the Garden, because there's a lot of names that have been out there, and I'm just like, please don't sign any of those old guys, because most of them are injury.
How does that Paul George conversation even get started? You're not trading for Paul George for a 22-year-old kid in Barrett or any of these guys that we're talking about.
Well, if any guy needs to be moved, it's Randall. I feel like Randall should be moved so that these younger kids can progress, because he's not helping them in that sense. As far as like being on the team, he's not. His leadership might be there, but as far as like being able to produce on a daily basis, it's not consistent. So
I think the Toppin trade makes it clear Randall's not going anywhere.
I know that was, to me, I was like, you should have just got rid of Randall. I don't know why you didn't get rid of him.
Because I don't think they're that impressed with Toppin's attitude or his game. He plays no defense at all, zero. I think they think he's soft, and I do too. I think he's soft.
Well, look,
I do.
The game that the Knicks play, the pressing that they do, and the pushing the ball up the court, you don't really need to be a high defensive, highly motivated team. Like, the problem with the Knicks is that they don't understand that they cannot shoot threes. So that's the biggest problem they have. They got all these guys in the 30 percentile or less for shooting threes, and they stop to shoot threes. That's like, that's like being, batting 200 and trying to hit home runs. You're not a home run hitter, man. Chill out. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I think this trade speaks to the fact that they like some of the other moves they had in the offseason. The fact that they brought Josh Hart back. I think they like McBride, his upside, more than they like what Toppin can bring to this team. And I think, and Grimes and whatnot. Those guys I don't think are going anywhere, and I don't think they should.
Right.
I think one of the interesting things with DiVincenzo and coming in here is if the Knicks get off to a slow start with all these Villanova championship players here, when does the Jay Wright talk start?
I mean, the Jay Wright talk have already started once they picked up DiVincenzo. Everybody here in New York is clamming that
it'll get
the next coach, and I hope not. I mean, Tibbs should coach in college, and Jay Wright should stay in college too. Like, this is a different type of basketball. We don't see this kind of basketball in college, and in the NBA, it's a different style, which is why these guys like Lillard and Harden, and they're not going anywhere because of too much. They're asking for too much, and the game has changed. The game is not the same, and you can't have older guys on the bench like you used to. Like you can't pay for that. You gotta get, you have to be younger, and you have to be fast, and there has to be quickness. So
that's where the Knicks are actually on their bench.
They're on the up. They're like Sacramento in a sense.
Yeah.
Even though Sacramento has a little bit more skill and drafted better than the Knicks have in the last 3 seasons, but the Knicks have the opportunity of changing, changing the guard and changing the mindset and just being a fast, young, hardworking blue collar team that, I think Tibbs is trying to give him that edge and that and build him up to do that, but he's just doing it in the wrong way. He's doing it his way, and his way doesn't work, and it's never worked. And he needs to change his way and mentality. Wherever Tibbs coaches, the Knicks will go. No, he hasn't. It took him too long to get the kids playing anyways, and now he plays these guys way too many minutes and doesn't spread the wealth where you could see a faster game. Even what he did with Quickly, like it took him too long in the season to get him going. Hey, what's up, Robert? So
morning, Robert. And Tibbs is the man, Robert. Thank you, Robert, for chiming in and backing me up on Tibbs being the man.
Nah, he's out the door if the Knicks don't do nothing this season.
Well, so everybody should be out the door if the Knicks don't advance to the conference finals next
I've been saying this since he got hired here that it was not a good fit for him. I'm not saying, and I've never said that he was a terrible coach. What I've said is that he doesn't change his ways, and that he would be a better college coach than he will in the NBA. And for that reason, and I think the players are going against him because of the way the players are used to playing. Right, like last year in the playoffs, you heard him on the microphone. Just keep attacking the basket, move the ball, just go forward. And then the Knicks stop and start shooting threes. And it's like, that's not what your coach said. Listen to your coach. It's like,
Where was this team before Tibbs got here?
In the same place it is now, not in the championship game. How about that?
That is horse crap. They were winning 19 games a year.
They could be winning 60 games a year. I want them in the championship game.
This team had won a playoff game in over a decade before he got here. He's had him in twice in 3 years, and he won a series.
If you can't, they let the Heat beat them out to in the conference. That's not a good look for them.
They also beat the Celtics.
See what Denver did to the Heat. The Heat might have gave Denver one good game.
Did you see what the Heat did to every single team other than the Nuggets?
Yeah, but that's a testament to what Spoelstra had to do with nothing. That's more of what Spoelstra and the Heat
have
done.
Spoelstra is the best coach in the league in my mind. I've said that 100 times. So
you can't say that if the Heat would have won a championship, everybody would have been like, wow, they really earned it. They really did well. But they're still not the best basketball team in the NBA. They were just able to get on a run.
They got on a good run.
Like when you talk about the Lakers winning a championship, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Oh, well, it was a bubble. It wasn't a bubble. Like you don't give credit to them being the best basketball team in the NBA. No, you said that they had the opportunity of playing in a situation, and they took advantage of that situation, but they weren't the best basketball team that played that year. No, they were just a bubble, man.
Yeah, I agree. The best team doesn't always win.
Right. So, but that's the problem with the NFL and the NBA right now. It's
you don't take championships away from teams because they weren't.
No, you don't. But unfortunately, as fans and media, they're like, well, they did. This is such happened, or they.
Everybody's in the same situation as the Lakers, right? So why would we take? I hate it when, whether it was the Dodgers in the COVID year or Lakers in the bubble. Don't begrudge these teams winning championships in seasons that were not normal. Everybody else had to play under the same conditions.
Now listen,
everybody.
You making it sound like I'm the one who's saying it.
No.
It's the way that people perceive things. And,
no, my tone still carries over from the Thibodeau part of the conversation. So.
Yeah, and listen, it's the same thing with the Phillies catching a Heat in the last break to get to the World Series last year. They weren't the best team in the NL East. Were they? Were they the best team?
No, not even close.
All right, so
Braves and Mets were both.
so you saying these things about Tibbs being here that don't make him one of the best teams in the East? No, it was just the fact that in Miami caught heat and they did what they did. Like,
but you dismiss everything that he's done that's positive. Everything.
Not dismissive. It's this. My expectations is like the Knicks don't win a championship, then they're not doing well, or not even a championship game. They're not doing what they're supposed to do.
First of all, I wouldn't say next year that it's championship or bust and everybody gets fired. Get to the conference championship game. Build the freaking franchise the way the Nuggets built their franchise and not keep firing people every 3 years.
I'm not. The idea is not that to keep firing and moving on. The idea was he took almost 2 seasons to play the younger guys to see what they got this season, where he already been starting doing that. The kids were already been in a different mindset. And when Brunson came here, they could have been more competitive, but they weren't. They were just sitting there on the bench because freaking older guys are playing like
they were,
and all these other guys. Come on, man.
Grimes played horrible last year, didn't he? No, he didn't. Grimes and Quickly were contributors to this team.
They didn't play the year before that when they were drafted. They were sitting on the bench.
Barrett's 22 years old. He's one of the keys to this team. Come on. He doesn't play.
And you say that, and Tibbs benched him in the beginning of the season.
Because he wasn't playing well. Come on. You can't just keep playing guys when they don't play well. They're
young. He's playing Randall like 30, 40 minutes, 45 minutes a game, and Randall can't even stand up for 30 minutes a game. Man.
Yeah, and who sat out key parts of key games late in the season in the playoffs? Randall did.
Right. That's what that's what I keep mentioning to you. That's why I keep saying to you, if Tibbs don't change his way, it's not helping the team.
That is changing his way. I don't.
Nah, man. Nah, he plays too many players, too many minutes, and the players.
Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. This is your sentence for this. This is going to be your sentence for your crimes during this conversation. Is you need to go back and watch the Knicks play the last 10 years before Tibbs got here, and then tell me he stinks.
Look, I'm talking about Tibbs go
watch every game the Knicks played 10 years before Tibbs got here, and then tell me Tibbs has done a horrible job.
No, wait, look, I'm not saying that he's doing a terrible job. What I'm saying is that we're not in the championship game. Therefore, the expectation is to try to get to the championship game always. And if you have paid for some of these players to bring you to a championship game, then that's where you should be at. But they're nowhere near that. Well, you're getting close.
They're getting closer, and guys are getting better. Barrett's 22 years old and getting better.
Randall aren't getting better.
Quentin Grimes is getting better
because these guys are young. That's why the opportunity to come up is higher because they're younger.
I'm not going to argue about the Randall thing. I was ready to move on from Randall, but you got to have a better option, and they don't have one right now. It wasn't Toppin.
At the end of the day, they don't. It's better to have no Randall than have an option on the bench because.
And by the way,
Randall's taking minutes away from other players. That's what I'm getting at. Randall takes minutes away from other players. Well, he had the opportunity last year, and yes, he had an all-star season, but that doesn't mean anything because he played the most minutes. And the guy who has that many minutes and is considered an all-star should have better stats, even better than what he was able to produce. That's all I'm saying.
If Randall's a terrible
player. I'm saying that he was given the opportunity to play all the minutes available to him, and he took the advantage. He didn't take advantage of it. He just took it for what it was. And yeah, he made the all-star team, but he could have been a lot better. We should have got more out of him. That's all I'm saying.
I say this. Next year, you're going to see a little different minutes distribution, I think, because they're going to be deeper, because Quickly's got the trust of the team. I think McBride's going to get more minutes. I think, obviously, DiVincenzo coming in here is going to take minutes away. Josh Hart for a full season. So you're going to see more guys getting more minutes, and the minutes spread out a little more.
For what it's worth, I hope that's true. Because they got guys right now, Mitchell Robinson, if he played more, he probably would have been a little bit more cleaner, more polished. You don't like Mitchell Robinson?
No, because he's not happy with his role. He wants to be an offensive threat. He doesn't need to be. Just go do your job. He's a very good defender, rebounder. Just do your job.
Why you think he has anxiety and is anxious because he don't get the minutes because Randall's over there taking him.
He gets plenty of minutes. And
then you got the German kid. He's
Hartenstein played better second half of the season. He played better.
He's gonna start to peak, and you're gonna have to want to get more out of him.
I think they like this Roby kid too. Another reason I think Toppin's gone. I think they like Isaiah Roby behind Randall and behind maybe more minutes in that front
And I
court.
want to see Sims. I want to see him out there. I want to see
for him.
Like I think the three guys, Mitchell Robinson and the German kid and Sims, I think those are a good start, and that's enough to get rid of Randall and get maybe somebody else, or just keep these younger kids getting into a groove of things.
Most stars aren't championship ready until about year 7. Steph, MJ, that's a very good point.
Yeah,
guys need to mature. And by the way, when it comes to some of these guys, teams have stuck with them. The Warriors stuck with a plan and didn't just keep blowing it up, moving players in and out, changing coaches. Well, they did change coaches.
Yeah, they did.
Over the top. MJ's another guy. Did
MJ
not
got a new coach too.
Yeah, but the right coach.
Okay.
The right coach.
All right, and then they got better players around him because the players that he started with
went to a different team every time. And Joker, by the way, Jokic, they built that team, and pretty much the core of it they stuck with the same coach.
With the same coach, but they got different pieces from different places with guys who were considered not good draft picks and came in and played better for them. So, I mean, there's different ways to build a team, and there's different ways to do things in the NBA now that the game's not the same. But still, like, I've never said blow up the team. I'm saying there's a couple pieces that need to be moved, and improvements will show. But this is a young team, so it should kind of like try to stay young. If they get a player like George or a player like Lillard or anybody else, Harden or anybody else to sell a jersey, they're going to go backwards, and they're going to spend more money, and it's just going to be another mess that they've been for the last 30, 40 years.
Well, that'll be on Leon Rose, not on Tibbs, that's for sure. So, and they got one chip, by the way. I think they're still going to get another a serviceable player in here for that bench and that rotation, because they still got Evan Fournier's expiring contract to trade. Expiring contracts are very valuable. They'll get a good player for him.
I feel bad for Fournier because he's probably the most consistent and the best shooter on that team, but he's just older, and his lackadaisical style and defense doesn't help.
He doesn't. He was a bad.
Not at all. No, beginning. But if I'm a team like Orlando or a team like Detroit and want someone deep on the bench to just bring in for 10, 15 minutes a game,
yeah,
he's not a bad player to put in.
Well, plus you'd have this expiring contract to be able to take off your books next year.
I mean, again, he might do like something what Kevin Love did for Miami. You just go in a few games. Don't make him a starter and expect him to give you 30, 40 minutes.
Off the Knicks topic, but still with the NBA, we haven't had a chance to talk about the trade between the Celtics and the Wizards and the who is also part of that trade, the Grizzlies.
The Grizzlies.
I do not understand the Celtics one bit. They bring in Porzingis, who's going to get hurt, play 40 games. He's a interesting player when he's healthy, but he's never healthy enough. And you trade the heart of your team, who wasn't the problem. The problem on this team is Tatum and Brown, who keep coming up small in big games. But you move the heart of your team, and I think the Celtics are going to regret this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think they should have moved Brown on that trade instead of Smart. And they would have had a better core group there with Tatum and Smart. But
absolutely.
What this does is just allows the Celtics not to worry about contract, issues next season if Smart plays a good season. So, I mean, they're helping their money line. They're not helping their team at all. Porzingis, I mean, we saw him in New York. We've seen him in Dallas. He doesn't play more than 60 games a season, so I'm not sure. Maybe you just want him for 30 games.
A lot.
He's on that Anthony Davis plan where they just come in and play kind of, at least half the season, and then whatever happens. I mean, come on, man. I don't understand.
And he's soft. Listen, he's a great athlete when he's healthy, but he's soft. He doesn't play inside nearly enough in my mind for his size. I mean, he's a great 3-point shooter for a 7-footer. But
again, Boston's a fast team. They don't need to be like beating up guys. They just need to attack the basket. That's it. And get the rebounds, and whether they're soft or not. Like, people say Tatum's soft, but he's a go-getter. He might not be that physical guy that you want. That's like Sean Kemp and attacking the basket with anger, but he's gonna get points, and he's a smart player. So,
I know we debate the merits of leadership, but we're going to find out whether Tatum or Brown, somebody's got to step up, not just on the court, but in the locker room. That's where Smart's going to get missed. He's going to
on the court, man, on the court. Like when he comes off the bench or where he's, or he's starting or whatever. That presence, the presence that balances off Tatum's personality. That's the thing. Smart wasn't the leader on the team. He just. That Tatum's a leader, but that Smart is one of those he's like the Dennis Rodman, the guy that just gets you energy guy, right? So
right, agreed. Before we wrap up, let's talk a little NFL. So again, I've talked about this until I'm blue in the face about the gambling, and they just re-upped. The NFL just re-upped with one of the gambling sites. This is the whole league's becoming a joke because everything revolves, and we know it. We've known it for years that the NFL, a big part of their popularity was people bet on the games. We knew that, but as soon as that's different than a league getting in bed with these betting sites where I can sit here and bet all day. I can bet whether they're going to get a first down on this drive. I can bet whether this guy's going to get a catch on this drive. You can bet anything you want. But then when the players do anything, and again, I am not in any way saying NFL players should be betting on NFL games in any way, shape, or form. And some of these guys have, and they should be gone. It's the integrity of the league. They're worried about the integrity of the league, and that's why they're punishing these guys as severely as they are, and I'm okay with that. But then you are hypocritical when you're the integrity of the league. You're the one who put in question by getting in bed with gambling sites. I don't get it.
We also have to look at the perspective that it's not just gambling, it's also fantasy league, right? Those are the two.
But that's gambling too. It's the same thing. It's gambling.
Yeah, no. Well, see, here's the thing. If you're a fantasy league player, it doesn't mean that you're going to be a DraftKings guy or a FanDuel guy. You could just have your league that you play with, right? So I think what the NFL is trying to do is, like you said, make it all the same and encompass everything, bringing everybody together. And so the biggest issues now is the guy these kids, some of them who got caught gambling or whatever it is that they're doing, the guy from Tennessee, he was doing other leagues, other sports, which is why he didn't get suspended for that long, right? The O-lineman, Pierre. The other guys were betting on their own. Were somehow or another gambling and betting on their own players, right? Because that's like inside trader information. So
exactly, it's wrong. And
right, so every situation is different. And for those guys, I mean, you don't know any better than that. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like you're an actual player in the NFL. You're getting paid millions of dollars. Why are you gambling or betting anyway?
Because the NFL sends a wrong message by getting into bed. They're $1 billion corporation. They don't need the money that comes from DraftKings and all of them. I use DraftKings as my example because I use them. And I'm not against gambling. I gamble myself. But sports leagues should not be getting into bed with gambling sites. They just shouldn't do it.
No, because like you said, it gives it a bad look. When some of these guys, referees, coaches, players, and anybody gets involved in a ring or whatever to do these, it was a bad look in the past, and that was illegal gambling. Now it's legal gambling, and it's still a bad look. It's still a bad look. So,
and by the way, I'm all over the NFL, but it's all the sports leagues. It's Major League Baseball. It's the NBA. I go back to when Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle were retired. They were retired. And they lent their name to Caesar's Palace, I think, in Vegas, just to lend their name, right? They'd show up once in a while, greet people and junkets and whatnot. And Bowie Kuhn suspended them. They couldn't have anything to do. They couldn't come to spring training to be with the teams like they would. But now, so that wasn't gambling, right? That was just lending your name to the casino. And that was totally couldn't have that. It's a danger to the integrity of the game. Willie and Mickey weren't playing anymore, but still. But now doesn't matter. The NFL's lent their name to these gambling sites, but again, they've given these players the thought that, oh, it must be okay. I understand you got to suspend them and maybe they'll stop. I doubt it. There's a big scandal coming, Carlos. It's a big scandal coming. This is nothing. It's
No,
coming.
I mean, listen, and I know you guys, a lot of you and yourself, you're not a big fan of soccer, but the biggest scandals, a huge betting, issues, and even within the federation, which in different leagues and things like that, in soccer and football, has been amazing and incredible. The shutdown of the actual federation of FIFA getting shut down and people getting busted a few years ago. There's a great documentary on it.
I would think that's an easy game to fix. Boxer's easy to fix.
Yeah, the league, the Italian league, the Serie A, doing with those multimillionaire owners, and just so much. This is so much, and that's illegal betting. That's before they've used the FanDuels and the DraftKings and all that stuff that's going on now, and that's allowed. So it's messy, man, and it's disgusting, and but a lot of people now who watch soccer, they know that's part of the game, and they're just like, well, if it happens, it happens, but they still follow. They're still following it.
Listen, I'll keep screaming. Nobody will listen to me and whatever. So let's talk about it. I don't even know. Do you watch Hard Knocks? Is Hard Knocks run its course? And is the NFL right in
I would say
the Jets? And the Jets are going to be on this. It's not official yet, but the Jets are going to be on this.
Terrible. Like I would say this. I'm a fan of Hard Knocks. I like it because you get to see a fake situation between players, coaches, and the teams, because they're doing it for the camera.
Anytime the camera's on, reality TV. That's my joke about reality TV. It's no longer reality once you turn a camera on. Sorry.
So, no, but I like when Jeff Fisher was there with the Rams and all that whole situation, because he had a whole match, and you can tell he was about to crap his pants because he was mad at people, and then when he fired people and let people go, he was like, "Thank God I got rid of this Julio." It's like,
yeah.
But you can
there were some good moments.
You can see the frustration on some of these coaches, some of these players, and how they feel, and the look on their faces, and what they want to say, and they just kind of walk off. But that's not necessary needed in New York for this situation this season at all. That's going to hurt.
Jets want nothing to do with it. The Jets want nothing to do with it, but the league and HBO is not going to give them a choice. There's only 4 teams that can be chosen this year.
What teams are those?
If I remember right, it was the Texans. Oh God, who are the other ones? Because their criteria is you can't have it can't be the Texans. They got a new coach. One of the criteria is to eliminate you is you got a new coach who can't be chosen, or you made the playoffs not last year. So there was only 4 teams. So who would that be that didn't make the playoffs last year? Probably the Titans would be one of them. The Dolphins would be one of them. And who would the other team be? Might be Seattle. No, Seattle made the playoffs. Detroit.
And they've been there already.
They were just there, so they don't want them.
I would, I'm not. Even I kind of like the Titans as a third team. They're my third team if anything bad happens. But I wouldn't mind seeing the Dolphins or the Titans get it. But the Jets, that's just gonna be a terrible.
Listen, not being a Jet fan, I think tremendous entertainment could come out of this, and I really hope it's.
You know why I say that? Because they're gonna get a new OC. They have a new OC. They have besides Aaron Rodgers, the media there. Are they gonna pipe down because this show's on? I hope not. And if they
they'll pipe up.
I know, right? They might take it to the max. So.
Listen, I want to see Aaron Rodgers in a locker room talking to players about psychedelics and, the great things they can do for you. I want to see that.
I don't want to see – I just want to see him on the field perform. And after that, I don't care what he does. Like, and I don't think I'm going to get it. I think the Jets and the Giants
so much
on the show. Look, I think they're both going to be 8 and whatever, 8 and 9 or whatever. I don't think they'll make it, but whatever.
Well, they're going to be one of the favorites to a betting favorite just because of who the quarterback is. And listen, there's a lot of talent on this team. They don't need this distraction. If I'm a Jet fan, I don't want this, right?
Yeah, but, I don't know. There's some Jets screaming for it because they want to be on TV.
Well, they're going to be on TV.
No matter what. Come on, guys.
Anyway, That's it for today, guys. We caught up a little bit. We'll catch up more next week. There's going to be lots going on because they've been long for training camp opens up pretty soon.
Oh, gosh. You guys have a great weekend.
Lots of football news. Have a great day, Carlos. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll catch you Sunday on the Stream of Consciousness, and have a great, great weekend. Stay cool out there, guys.